Hello everyone, this is going to be a short video on a couple of WebStorm keyboard shortcuts that can be incredibly useful. I also include a little bit of a functionality video here, but it's mostly going to be focused on keyboard shortcuts. I also have down here a keyboard shortcut just showing you what keys I'm pressing so you guys can follow along. And the first one is just going to be Alt left or Alt right, and all it's going to do is it's going to move me between current tabs. Alright, the second one, and perhaps the most important one I'm going to show you today, is Control Shift A. And what it does is it shows up the screen and you can see enter action or option name. And here you can basically search through the entire WebStorm application. Any action, any plugin, basically anything that you're trying to do in WebStorm, you can search for it in this little box here. So let's say we're looking to open up the terminal and we don't remember what the keyboard shortcut for it is. And there you go, Alt F12. And if I just click on terminal, this is going to show me the terminal settings. And if I just click on terminal here, this is going to launch the terminal for me. And there you go. So I'm going to go ahead and search now for how to close open windows. So close. And as you can see, several different options. And what I'm looking for is going to be you're not seeing close active tab, which you can just go ahead and do Control Shift F4, and it closes the current window that you were working with. In my case was the terminal. Now it's closed, and again that's Control Shift F4. Alright, so let's go ahead and get out of it. And the next one I'm going to show you is Control Enter, and all that, sorry, I meant Alt Enter, and all that does is it shows up that little bulb that you see on the right that you hover and you usually have to click on it. If you just do Alt Enter, it will show up. And this brings me now to inserting in here a link. So I'm looking for this client router.js file, and the first way to do it is you just start typing client and you press and then you go Alt space. Sorry, I'm at Control space and I'm stuck up there, so I need to come back. Control space, and there's no suggestions because the first time it doesn't do it. The second time you can look at what you're looking for, and in this case there's whatever file you want. Let's just say I was looking for app.js, and there you go. It finds that file for me and it gives me the right location for it, so the sources are all now loading properly. If that wasn't the case, if all I wanted to do was come here and just look for app.js, I just start out typing app.js and I just Control space a couple times, and there you go. It will look for the file, and I am looking for this one, public inside client app.js. Just double click it, and there you go. We have the right file name for it. The second thing I would like to add, and let me go ahead and undo these and go back to what I had beforehand. Okay. So the next one that I would like to show is, again, just opening up actually the terminal from the keyboard. It's Alt F12 like we saw earlier there. And then Control Shift F4 goes ahead. These keyboard shortcuts don't actually work very well inside the terminal because the terminal has its own keyboard shortcuts, so you have to be aware of that. So enter char to delete up2. This is actually a shortcut for the command prompt in Windows, but we don't want to use that, so let's go ahead and close that out. But if I had project open and I went ahead and did the same thing, there you go. It closed it out for me. Let me see if there's... Okay, the next one now, it's a little bit going back to my previous video on copy and pasting. When I said that when you paste into WebStorm, it automatically reformats whatever you're pasting to fit into the format that you specified WebStorm to have once you created the project. So for most of my applications, I have my tabs being at 2. So if something got switched around and my tabs were no longer at 2, let's say this one here is at 3, you can either just select the whole thing and copy it, Control C, and just paste it back in, and you can see it comes back pasted the right way. But there's an easier way to do so. The easier way is just go Control Alt L, and it immediately fixes it for you. If you forget that one, you can just do again Control Shift A, and if you just look at reformat code, and that is Control Alt L, as you can see right there. The other one is if you're trying to rename something but you don't want to rename the entire file, you just want to rename something inside a scope. Let's go ahead and look for something around that. So I server.js, and I figured out that I no longer want to call this profile. I want this name something else. So what I would do is Shift F6, and you can notice that all the profiles inside this current scope have been highlighted, and only inside this current scope. As you can see, there's no other profile highlighted anywhere else, just inside the scope. And if I switch this to profile 2, or in this case it replaced the whole thing, but here I'd go profile 2, and it adds or replaces the name to whatever you want. If you just wanted to replace everywhere, you would go ahead and just do a Control F, and it would look there, and you could do the find and replace that way. Control Shift F gives you more of a find in path. It will find everything in the entire project, or you can specify a directory, or you can specify a custom file, and you can tell if you want case sensitive, the whole body, a regular expression, etc. Like this will tell you and highlight everything that you want to find, and then results, options, skip results tab when one occurrence is found, and so on. So this one again is Control Shift F, and the basic version of it is just Control F, which just looks for it in the specific file that you open right now, and again Control Shift F, so just Shift F6 with a word highlighted will allow you to do the refactoring inside the local scope. Just for ease of demonstration, I added a profile up here just to show you that the Shift F6 is looking for profile only inside the scope of the current function. This profile up here is outside that scope, so it's not being found by the Shift F6. And then if you want to get rid of it, you can just go on and highlight something else, or once you're there, you can just do Enter and it goes away. This should summarize most of the current keyboard shortcuts that I've been using lately. There's one more, and I do not have this one memorized yet, so we're going to do a Control Shift A, and we're just going to search for open. So open in browser, right here, JS toolbox, Control Alt Shift G. And I've been trying to memorize this one. It hasn't happened yet. This one right here is for the JS toolbox. The other one that's also available is just open in browser here. They should do about the same, but let's just go ahead and try it out with the keyboard shortcut, which should be Control Alt Shift G. Control Alt Shift G. And there you go. It launched my application in the browser. Right now I'm working at Node.js, so this is launching my server, which is not necessarily what you would want to do, but if I was inside project, and let's go ahead, I don't really have just a basic CSS file because these are all being launched as EJSs, but let's see if it let me show something. Control Alt Shift G. It launched the right EJS file, so it might be working. Let's go to the layout.ejs, and this one doesn't have anything. Let's do this one here, and Control Alt Shift G. Yeah, it's not going to launch the file that you're in. It's just going to launch the server that you're working with, which in this case is this one. But that's what it's launching right now. It's doing that play for you. If you want to launch the debug, Control Shift A again. Let's look it up. So if you just want to do debug, it's Shift F9 or Alt Shift F9. I'm guessing that Shift F9 will give me the rerun. and Alt-Shift F9 will give me, Alt-Shift F9 will give me the debug. So just keep that one in mind because these are both two different things, although when you run Control-Shift-A, this highlights them as both being the same. That's not true. Right here, you're actually running the run file, and down here, you're actually running the debug. So Shift F9 will run your project as normal, and your Alt-Shift F9 will run your project as a debugger. And I'd like to point out that this open right here that created Control-Alt-Shift-G actually created for us a edit configuration. It actually created an extra configuration for us, and you can see it when you do Control-Shift-F9. Sorry, I keep saying Control-Shift, but it's Alt-Shift-F9. Login.ejs. That had not been created beforehand. It got created by that tool, and that tool is called the JavaScript. So let's do it again. Control-Shift-A and open. And where are we? Open in browser. JS Toolbox is actually a plugin, and I'll show that to you right now. So let's Control-Shift-A again, and let's go to Control-Shift-A, and let's go to plugins. As you can see, everything is accessible from in here. We're going to browse repositories, and we want to do JavaScript. No, I don't know why you're doing that. There, JavaScript toolbox. This is the one, and it adds quite a few items to look at. Go to test, go to view, go to constructor. It adds, and then here's the commands: Alt-T, Alt-V, go to constructor, Alt-G. So these are actually fairly useful. You can go over those commands later as you're going through it. The way I recommend memorizing these is just going through a couple every day or every couple of days, and once you have those memorized and you're no longer using the mouse to do those things, you can move on to the next. Don't try to do all of them at the same time. It's a lot of information at once. So again, and if you're not using it, it's okay. I mean, it's just an extra feature that WebStorm provides you. You can use it, you cannot use it, it remains up to you. Alright, thank you for watching. Have a nice day.